All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. So, I'm Andrew, aka Morgoth Mindgasms, for the purposes of this video, and I'm going to talk about this newest final trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime Video that I believe is coming out in only a few days or so. September 1st will be the airing of the first episode, and talk about why fans seem to hate it, and also, like, one of those aspects is what the fuck is going on with Galadriel. So, yeah, I'm going to analyze and comment on the trailer here and talk about those aspects along with others as well. So, here we go. All right.
My brother gave his life hunting the enemy. His task is now mine.
Okay, so this is one thing that people fans are pissed off about because it's not canon. I know I'm already getting into this, but this that we don't know that much about the plot of the show yet. So unlike a lot of people, I'm really annoyed by people prejudging the show that isn't even out yet. I'm definitely really excited still to watch it and see what happens with it. But apparently, one of the major aspects of the plot is that Galadriel is going to be this badass warrior, which I mean, I know some people said that there's room to add a whole bunch of stuff because there's some ambiguity about what happened with Galadriel for part of her life during the Second Age of Middle Earth when the show takes place. But they're like her being some badass warrior. I agree with people who say that that's not Middle Earth or Lord of the Rings canon at all, and it's not like. But I disagree with both polar sides uh, of this argument too. It's I wouldn't say like having Galadriel being a badass warrior is just some stupid fucking woke shit. But it's also not necessarily the case that, oh, it's really cool that we're gonna have this stuff happen with Galadriel. There's plenty of shit in the actual Silmarillion itself and in the realm of Middle Earth that you could make that actually happens that you could have in the show instead of making up all of this kind of stuff. But again, I'm still excited to see how it could turn out.
Stand with me. Ours was no chance meeting. Not fate.
So that's supposed to be. This is another thing that I've mentioned before too when I was talking about this with my friends Dustin and Tristram. This is supposed to be Elrond, I believe. So it's supposed to be young Elrond and young Galadriel, and they look younger than Hugo Weaving and Kate Blanchett in Lord of the Rings movies. So it wouldn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense for them to actually look younger because they're supposed to be ageless as adults and not look like they've aged. So it actually chronologically doesn't make sense for them to look younger here. But I guess it's supposed to be, the show's supposed to be kind of like canon-ish. So maybe they're not connecting it at all to, I think it is the case that they're not connecting the show at all to the Peter Jackson movies. So I guess that could be a reasonable explanation for that. But also, it's kind of inconsistent with the fact that they're making all of these changes to draw in general fandom, and it's pissing off a whole lot of the hardcore nerdy fans. And I understand that you have to strike some sort of a balance with that, but a lot of people who are not hardcore nerds have still seen the Lord of the Rings movies and would notice that as well. So that's something that, well, like, even if you're going to have them be younger characters, I understand the instinct to make the actors younger, but it would actually make more sense, I think, for the majority of the audience, even not hardcore fans, to actually have the actors be more like around the age of Hugo Weaving and Galadriel when they were in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy of movies.
Your destiny. Ours was the
Ah,
worst.
see, do you see that there? There's a dwarf with an actual beard. Fans were complaining about that before, but there is actually at least one beard, one dwarf with a beard.
Great.
Each of us, everyone, must decide who we shall be.
Okay, a few seconds ago it showed like a black character, and I made a video about this before, talking about this with my fantasy nerd buddies, Dusty and Tristram, about how Lauren Southern, the famous far right winger and white supremacist, who some people disagree she's a white supremacist, but she promotes the great replacement theory, and anyone who does that is a white supremacist by definition, basically. But anyway, she was complaining that in the trailer you see a black dwarf and a black elf, and oh no, this isn't canon for there to be black characters in Middle Earth. And this is something where, yes, technically there are no black characters in Middle Earth, but I really don't think that that's the sort of objection that Tolkien himself would actually care about. I think that he mostly, like, he straight up just doesn't describe the races of a lot of characters. So because we have such like a white centric culture in modern Western culture in North America and whatever, uh, people just assume that a lot of the characters are white, and Tolkien probably did true too, because that was even more case at the time that he was writing the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. But I don't think that he would object to there being black characters. In fact, if he were writing them in today's world, maybe he would actually put in more black characters. So I think it's stupid to be pissed off about that aspect. I mean, the whether this is a woke thing or not is determined by whether they cast these actors because they were the best actors for the roles, or because they just thought we're going to put this Tolkien black character in, and people assume that just adding black characters is always woke, and sometimes it is if they're just terrible characters and they're just added to be token black people. But I feel like most of the time when that happens, it is just the case that they've added black characters and they're actually good characters and good actors.
I am not the hero you seek.
Whatever it was you did, be free of it.
One day this will be your kingdom.
Raise your sail and then let go.
Choose not the path of fear, but that of faith.
One thing we can do, better than any creature in all Middle Earth, we stay true to each other with our hearts even bigger than our feet.
I can survive this. You and
Misty Mountains.
Commander! Wait! No! We keep moving!
Why do you keep fighting?
There is a tempest in me!
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
That was the shot in the original teaser trailer that a lot of people for criticizing because it looks way too fucking obviously like fake CG, and I agree with that. But I think those sorts of criticisms are kind of nitpicky. Although, I mean, some of it annoys me sometimes too.
Put up your sword.
Without it, what am I to be?
Cool. I mean, that trailer does look pretty fucking epic. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of, like I said, a lot of fans have been complaining a fair bit because a lot of the stuff that seems like it's going to happen in the show doesn't seem canon to Middle Earth at all. But, I mean, it does look epic. And my hope is that even if it's not that canon, I could still consider it a good show. Like, One example of that is that I love the original Lord of the Rings trilogy movies. There are parts in all three of the original films that bring tears to my eyes sometimes every time I rewatch them. But I also am a defender of the Hobbit movies, and I know a lot of people who love the Lord of the Rings movies don't like those because even though they're not canon to an extent, they're good stuff, and the extended editions of all 6 movies are better, and especially the third extended edition Hobbit movie is a pretty fucking good movie. It's just an awesome epic fantasy movie. It doesn't need to be exactly canon to the books for me for it to be a good show. So to me, I just hope the show is going to be awesome and not cringy or woke or any of that kind of shit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. Probably going to do an analysis of every episode, as I'm going to be doing for the House of the Dragon show too. So check out our analyses of every episode of the show. Hopefully, Dusty and Tristram and I will be doing that, my regular fantasy chat nerd friends. So yeah, check that out. Let me know your comments about what the show looks like based on the trailers, and follow upcoming chats about that. And also, look forward right away. I'm going to actually, in a few minutes now, do my analysis of episode 1 of the new House of the Dragon show, the prequel to Game of Thrones, of course. And check out my most recent video, which was criticizing the fact that Alexander Dugin, who has been called Putin's brain, a Russian intellectual and a philosopher. His daughter was recently murdered in a car bombing, and a lot of lefties seem to be happy about that, which I just find morally reprehensible, even if she was an awful person. So check that out too. And my upcoming House of the Dragon video. Click that like button, share this everywhere, subscribe to the channel, click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description of the video as always. And if you give me $10 a month, you can vote on future topics, books, and movies that I'll discuss both by myself and with others. And like I always say, always remember this: the funk cures all, and groove is in the heart. And keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And I love you all. And also, even more importantly, well, equally as importantly as remembering that the funk cures all and groove is in the heart, check out the new Lord of the Rings Rings of Power show. Hopefully it doesn't suck. I hope that it's good. All right. Thanks again, everyone, and adios until very soon, next time, in a few minutes.